Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with my September 2021 month-end wrap-up and stats. So, we're a little bit delayed this month. I do apologize. I didn't get any videos out last week for you guys, but here I am now with my wrap-up and stats. If you are new to my channel, what I do is I love stats. I love keeping track of my book stats. I go through all my stats for the month, and then I share some other fun kind of random things about the books that I've read, and then I talk about my top 5 books of the month. So let's jump in and get started. So first of all, of course, with the stats, I read 21 books in the month of September. 17 of those were new reads, and 4 of them were rereads. For my Goodreads goal, I had my Goodreads goal for this year set at 150 books. I've now read 183 out of 150 as of October 1st. I've read more since then. But as of October 1st, I'm at 122% of my goal completed. In terms of star rating, this was actually not one of the better months for me in terms of how much I enjoyed the books. I had a couple of duds this month. So the first, I had 1 2-star read, 1 2.5-star read, 4 3-star reads, 6 3.5-star reads, 6 4-star reads, 2 4.5-star reads, and 1 5-star this month. You guys know, if you've been watching me for any length of time, I do not throw around 5-star reviews lightly. I really have to love a book to give it a 5-star rating. My average rating was 3.60 stars. In comparison to the month of August, it's down a bit because in August it was 3.88 stars. So in terms of genre, I was all over the map in the month of September, which is kind of great. I read 4 historical romance, 4 middle grade fiction, the Babysitter's Club books I'm reading, 3 contemporary romance, 2 historical fiction, 1 cozy mystery, a romantic suspense, a thriller, an inspirational romantic suspense, a chick lit, a paranormal romance, a memoir, and a sci-fi book. I was all over the map, which is super fantastic. I like to keep track of how many category romance books I read, which are the Harlequins, which you guys can see all over behind me here. So 14% of what I read was category romance. I usually like that number to be a bit higher, up to 25% if possible. But I read 1 intrigue, a special edition, and a love-inspired suspense. In terms of ages for the books, I read 16 books that are geared towards an adult audience, 4 middle grade, and a single YA title. In terms of when these books were originally published, I read 4 books published in the 90s, 7 published in the 2010s, 3 published in 2020, and 7 books published this year in 2021. I listened to 11 audiobooks and read 10 ebooks. 15 of the books that I read were part of a series, and 6 of them were standalone books. Out of those part of a series books, 6 of them were new series that I started, and 9 were part of ongoing series, so that's fun. I read a grand total of 6,067 pages. Works out to approximately 202 pages a day. So not too shabby. Better than the month of August. August was not a great reading month for me. September was better. I have this feeling October is going to be even better. If you watch my weekly reads video that came out on Sunday, I read 8 books in that first week of October. So that's not too bad. Some of the random fun. The highest rated book that I read on Goodreads was Educated by Tara Westover. It has an average rating of 4.46 stars. The lowest rated book on Goodreads was so back to Educated. I gave that book 4.5 stars. The lowest rated book on Goodreads that I read was Likes, Cats, and Dogs by Kate McMurray. Has an average rating of 2.93 stars. I only gave it 2.5 stars, so I was right up there with everybody else. The longest book I read in terms of page count, now I think this just might be, I don't know how accurate this would be, but it is what it is Cia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything by Raquel Vasquez Gilliard. This came in at 432 pages, guys. However, if you listen to my review on this one, this had extremely short chapters. Some of the chapters were like a sentence long or a couple of paragraphs. So for us to say that it's almost 450 pages long, I don't think that's accurate because, I'm sure if I was reading it, like, you would have like chapter 4, 1 sentence, there's a page. Chapter 5, 2 paragraphs, there's a page. Do you know what I'm saying? So, because there was over 200 chapters in the book, you guys, like it was a little ridiculous. That was the book that was my least favorite book of the month. Side note, I gave it 2.5 stars, or 2 stars, excuse me. The shortest book I read in terms of page count was Dawn's Family Feud by Ann M. Martin, came in at 145 pages. So the average number of pages per book that I read were 289 pages. That's not too bad. And now into the top 5 books of the month. So coming in, as I like to always say, I go from least most favorite to most favorite. Coming in 5th place is The Evil Inside by Heather Graham. This, I believe, is the 3rd or 4th book in the Crew of Hunters series. This is a reread series for me. I love this one. I gave it 4 stars. It takes place in Salem, Massachusetts over Halloween. What more could you possibly ask for? I mean, it was essentially there was a murder taking place. Something involving the Salem witch trials way back in the day, and the Crew of Hunters are a group of paranormal investigators who work for the FBI, think the X-Files, but as I always like to say, with ghosts, not aliens. This is such a fun series. I really, really love it. You can really pick up any of these at any point and read them. You do not have to read them in any kind of order, but yeah, if you like paranormal romance, definitely check these ones out. The next one is Educated by Tara Westover. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This is a memoir of a woman who grew up Mennonite. Was it Mennonite? I don't think it was Mennonite. Mormon. I'm sorry. My apologies. Mormon. Very fundamentalist, to my understanding. Off-grid. She was never sent to school as a child. And then as she became an adult or grew up, she went to college and university and got a master's and a PhD and all the things. And kind of just showing where she came from. I know there's a lot of thoughts on this book of how much of it is actually accurate to what happened. But at the end of the day, she is a brilliant storyteller. This book kept me engaged and I really, really enjoyed it. Next up, Our Darkest Night by Jennifer Robson. This book I gave 4.5 stars to. It is a World War II historical. Takes place in Italy. It's about a woman who's Jewish, living in Italy, in Venice, whose father sends her away to the countryside to be fake married to this Catholic guy to keep her hidden from the Nazis. And, of course, there's the love story there at World War II. It was really, really good. I liked it a lot. Very, very engaging. I'm not generally one who is a big World War II historical fiction fan, but this book definitely was definitely really, really good. Next up, a lot of different ones here, you guys. Again, like kind of all over the map, which is always super fun. Was Brazen and the Beast by Sarah MacLean. I gave this book 4.5 stars as well. It's a historical fiction novel, a Regency. I read this one right at the beginning of the month, and it is about a woman who is having the year of Hattie, and her name is Hattie, and it's her birthday, and if she can just get through the next year, she can then say, bullocks to everybody and become a spinster and, start her own business, which is what she really wants to do, and, with, of course, family money, her father's money. And she ends up falling in love with this guy, and romance ensues, and hijinks ensue, and it was so, so good. Classic Sarah MacLean. She is so fantastic at these books. This is the 2nd book in the Bare Knuckle Bastard series, and it's fabulous, and you definitely, definitely need to check it out. And last but not least, coming in at 1st place for the month of September, a book that slid in at the very end that I hadn't even anticipated reading in September, and it ended up being my favorite. Isn't that great how that works? The Woolly Hat Knitting Club by Poppy Dolan. I gave this book 5 stars. I had this from NetGalley as an audio arc, and I loved it. Now, I did mention in my video when I talked about this book that I couldn't find it on Audible. Friends, people of the podcast have pointed out you can find it on Scribd on audio if you want to listen to it. So there you go. But it is available as an ebook on Amazon, at my local library, so you should be able to find it on ebook, no problem, but on audio, it's on Scribd. Was it Scribd or Hoopla? Check both. This is a chicklet. It's a chicklet. And it's about a woman who loses her job, and it takes place in the UK, and she goes back home, and she helps her brother out with his kind of knitting shop. And she ends up having a bit of a romance with a former coworker, and she kind of helps her brother out with this shop, and she meets up with old friends. It's very much that chicklet, kind of a lot going on, but This story was just so delightful, so heartwarming. It deals with premature babies is a big theme in this book, and our main character and her brother and their knitting friends end up making all these preemie hats for babies, and it's heartwarming. It is absolutely heartwarming. Please give it a read. It's not a terribly long book, and it was just delightful. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for today's video. Bit of a shorter one. Kind of flew through this pretty quickly, but those are my stats and my top 5 books of the month. Please let me know in the comments below what was your favorite book that you read in the month of September. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.